Welcome everyone. This is Marie Waite here at our Zoom talk. And today I have such a special guest and his name is Brandon Burns. Brandon is a 1031 exchange accommodator in San Diego. And I met him through LinkedIn a year ago. Hi, Brandon. How are you doing?
Hi, Marie. It's a pleasure to be on today. Thank you so much.
Great. I know that you and I have been talking but we haven't really met in person. This is the first time that I really get to see you, and now I'm really interested about what you do in the 1031 exchange because I don't have a lot of experience in that, and I wanted to learn more about it. So how did it all start for you?
It originally started, I've been here in San Diego for 3 years. As an exchange accommodator, I work with a lot of people who are buying and selling real estate properties. And my background before being an exchange accommodator was in buying and selling real estate properties. Originally, I started on Wall Street, and then for the past
Wallstreet,
10
that's
years,
awesome.
yeah. So right out of college, I was an analyst, building models for deals, and I worked through the recession in 2008. It really wasn't that amazing. I was working till 2 a.m. in the morning every day. And then I had some friends from college that said, hey, real estate is really a better place to be. We can use someone who understands a lot of the financial aspects behind the numbers. So now for about the past 10 years, I've been working the real estate space, really on the financial side. So whether, today I'm on the tax financial side. Prior to this, I was on the analyst financial side. I've been involved in some really neat things in my career. I was part of a team where we took $180 million public on the Tel Aviv debt market. So $180 million of real estate assets, primarily hospitality and multifamily, public on the Tel Aviv debt markets. That was really interesting.
Okay.
I've been a part of REITs that raised money. So far in my career, raised about $600 million for commercial real estate investments. Been a part of 7 REITs going public.
Oh my gosh.
So been able to be involved in a lot of fun things. And today I'm here in San Diego and working with people that are doing 1031 exchange transactions and helping them on the tax and financial side. So every day is really interesting. I get to be involved in different deals consistently. I get kind of, as a 1031 exchange accommodator, what's really unique is on the investment side of real estate, I kind of sit at the top and I have visibility and access into quite a few different transactions, and I'm able to see what a lot of people are doing, and it's truly fascinating, and it's my forever home, and I'm really glad to be here and excited to continue to be here in San Diego. Plus, San Diego's amazing. The people I end up working with are most of the time, 99% of them are amazing. So overall, it's really good.
Yes.
Yeah,
I am also agreeing with you when it comes to San Diego. It's a beautiful city, and
yeah.
that so your network of people are mostly in the investment side of the business. Is that right?
So in the past, it was mostly in the investment side of the business. Today, it's primarily the real estate transaction side of the business. So,
Okay.
Every day I speak with brokers. So I probably talk with, on a slow day, maybe 5 real estate brokers. On a busy day, maybe 10 or 15. I speak with escrow officers every single day, and investors. So in a 1031 exchange transaction, I'm able to interact with everybody who's doing the deal. So a good example, and this is one I actually worked on this morning. There's a gentleman who had inherited a 4-plex in Pacific Beach, San Diego, and his tenants are terrible. They are frat boys who are basically peeing on the walls.
Oh my.
Just kind of think of the worst tenants you could possibly have, and in California,
wow.
it can be difficult to evict them, right?
Yes.
So the owner who recently inherited it, they had a family member pass away, and they recently inherited this asset, and they said, I love the fact that, I have this asset. I love the fact that I'm in real estate. These tenants are just awful, and it's difficult to evict them. So he's selling that piece of property, and he's buying a much newer piece of property with much better tenants. However, he wants to make sure that he doesn't have to incur a significant tax liability during that process, right? So he's selling it for about almost $2 million. If he takes that money and puts it in his pocket, there's quite a bit of tax taxable income to him.
Yes.
Doing a 1031 transaction allows you to avoid that taxes in putting it back into another piece of real estate. So you really have to jump through 3 hoops. There's some other small important things, but the 3 major components of a 1031 transaction is, 1, the client cannot, the investor, the seller, cannot take constructive receipt of the funds. So they have to use what's called a qualified intermediary or a 1031 exchange accommodator, which is someone like me. Secondly, they have to identify within 45 days a number of properties that they would potentially go into. So you have 45 days to figure out, hey, these are some properties you can have, maybe A, B, and C that you would go into. However, you do have to figure out some options in the first 45 days. And then the third hoop is you have to close on one of those options within 6 months, within 180 days. So as long as you do that, you can completely get away from paying those taxes, and that can be very significant. For this particular client, it saves him over $300,000 in taxes. So it's a super win for him.
Okay, my question to you is, do you have to have a license to be in this transaction? And what is the process of taking someone into your program in terms of the 1031 exchange?
For sure. So there's not a license for exchange accommodators. However, it's important that it's set up correctly. There needs to be, we have $100 million worth of insurance, and we're bonded. But there's not, while there's a realtor license, there's not an exchange accommodator license. And the way the process works is we just have to get involved before close of escrow. We can get involved a day before escrow. Escrow officers really hate that because they have to redo some paperwork. But as long as we're there in the process 24 hours ahead of time, we can help. So the process would be is the seller would just need to provide a little bit of information for us. We work with his real estate broker, the escrow, and just make sure that the client, 1, is filling out the right information, filling out the right forms. Secondly, that the seller is not taking constructive receipt of the funds. So the money is actually going to come and sit in a segregated account at the bank that we use. So the money at the close of escrow, instead of going to the seller, comes to the exchange accommodator, and it sits in a segregated separate account that says investors 1031 exchange for benefit of, and then the seller's name. Then we help them through the process, make sure they fill out all the right paperwork that they need for the IRS, and then make sure that we have documentation of the properties that they potentially want to go into. That's called the properties they've identified in that first 45-day time period.
Are you part of finding the property that they're buying, or you're just in the middle of the transaction where you're making sure that it's a legit 1031 exchange?
So our primary role is to be in the middle of the transaction. However, I will tell you, 50% of my time is spent just helping people, right? So sometimes it helps to connect people with real estate brokers that are, that have different properties that are good replacement properties. But that's just a help that we do. It's not part of our, core business, although we spend quite a bit of time helping people out.
That's actually amazing that you're also a part of that process, because, some people will probably just be contented in doing the 1031 exchange, just, filling out or completing the transaction, but you're also part of helping connect people in finding properties. And so I'm sure a lot of the real estate brokers and agents love to be around you.
that's what makes us so unique. So there are title companies that also offer 1031 exchange parts of their business. We're a little bit cheaper and we're much more hands-on. So we're there really to help, right? Our goal is not only to provide the financial and tax advice, provide the service of the 1031 exchange, but also to make sure it's as seamless as possible, to make sure that, potentially the, investor can find properties they might not be able to find otherwise. So as I was saying, there are title companies that also offer this service of the 1031 exchange, but not only are we a little bit cheaper, but we're much more hands-on. We're much more white glove. There was a gentleman who Sunday afternoon, we were texting back and forth. They had questions. We texted from 7 to 9 p.m. on a Sunday. And I think that's one of the things we're really proud of in Investors 1031 Exchange is, we're just here to, we're here to help. I'm available just like a friend is.
Okay.
So,
Well, since you have the Wallstreet background, are you also incorporating some of your experience from that to your dealings with people in this business?
So I would say one of my favorite things is just to talk about ideas, talk about the economy, talk about real estate, talk about investing, talk about making money. I'm a personal investor, and I don't want to lose money. So a lot of times in our conversations, I'm able to help offer advice that the investor might not have thought about otherwise, right?
Okay.
So for example, there was a gentleman who had sold a piece of property, and he was trying to find his replacement. And he had a brother-in-law that said, "Hey, you should rent a house in Joshua Tree because during Coachella, people charge $10,000 a week." And so we sat down and I helped him run the numbers, and we found, yes, you may make $10,000 in 1 week, but we were able to pull some competitive sets of information from CoStar and Airbnb and some other information, and say, okay, well, actually, so it's going to be empty a lot of the time too. And how much do you make the other weeks? And financially, it didn't make as much sense as buying a multifamily asset that consistently had renters and had that consistent income here a little bit closer to where he lived. So that was really fun that I was able to do to run that analysis and have that fun conversation and see, where are things going? And this was before COVID. So, no one would imagine COVID. And he's so happy that he has these long-term renters that are still consistently paying rent and doesn't own an Airbnb in Joshua Tree.
Okay, that's where I was thinking that you are so valuable when it comes to analyzing the numbers because of your background, and that sets you up to such a unique service that you provide to people. And I'm very thankful that I got to know you, Brandon, because the first time you and I talked, you were very helpful. I mean, you're just a generous person right at the beginning, and I was really intrigued by you because of how you communicate with people. So I think with the 1031 exchange, for the people that are out there, I mean, like I said, I don't have much experience about it, and it's good that I learned that from you. And I think it will be great for people to know that that is available. And so if they wanted to learn more about it and, wanted to get hold of you, how do they reach you?
Absolutely. You can go to our website, which is i1031x.com, or probably the easiest thing is just call me on my cell phone. So my personal cell phone is 214-280-0908. I'm originally from Texas, even though I'm here in San Diego now. They still have the same cell phone. So text me, call me. I'm always available. I'm glad to chat anytime. I don't have a dog. I don't have a wife. I don't have anything else to do other than talk about real estate. So this is fun. Enjoy it.
So that's the focus of your life right now. Now, let me ask you, what will be the best advice that you can give to people that are now at home, dealing with COVID, but, it's like, how do you look at the real estate market, and what do you think is the best thing for them to hear from you?
Real estate is a fragmented market. So first of all, real estate is the only investment today, in my opinion, where you can do insider trading, where if you know more than other people, you can make more informed decisions that reduce the risk of your losing money, which I think, first of all, that's incredible. Second of all, there are 32 different types of investment real estate. So you have your asset classes, for example, office, multifamily, senior housing, hotels, and otherwise. And then secondly, you have different markets. You have a primary, tertiary, as well as secondary. So for example, a multifamily asset in San Francisco is going to be a little bit different than a multifamily asset class in Dallas, which is really going to be a little bit different than multifamily in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? So it's really interesting to kind of dig into each market and say, okay, do you want to be in California? If so, these things can make sense, and these markets can make sense, and these asset classes can make sense. If not, these other asset classes or markets could make sense. So for example, retail real estate is very challenged today, as everyone knows. There's been a little bit of shift away from from retail to industrial. I don't know if you saw, but last Christmas, Walmart ran a campaign called For the Dads, where dads or anyone could go online. They could order all the Christmas gifts and go pick it up at the front of Walmart, right? And so the reason they were able to do that is because Walmart isn't expanding to more stores. They're buying more industrial warehouses to keep items. And then,
Wow.
Secondly, when you upload things into a cloud, it has to go somewhere. It actually doesn't go to the clouds, right? So it
Okay.
goes typically to a warehouse. So industrial warehouse can be a good asset class to own. Housing, multifamily can be a good asset class to own. Buying land, if you don't need cash, can be good, but that also depends on your circumstance, right? So you can make a lot of money. I know a lot of people that have done significantly well in buying land. However, if you need cash today, then that can be a little bit more challenging, right? So, I have clients today that are saying, hey, maybe I own a piece of real estate that doesn't produce any income, but I have 2 kids that are about to go to college in the next couple of years, and I can maybe sell that, buy a piece of income producing real estate that hopefully will continue to appreciate, maybe not as fast as the land, but it will have some income so that I can effectively let my kids go to college without having to pay for that out of my personal checking or out of my job earnings. So, that's where real estate can just be so powerful. And if you can do that without having to pay taxes on the appreciation that you've made, that's where the 1031 exchange can be so powerful. And investors 1031 exchange, we have so many clients that are able to take their money, put it where there's less risk than other places, because you can pretty much figure out a lot of the trends and then also have income. So it can just be so powerful when you do a 1031 exchange.
Wow, that is amazing, Brandon. I mean, you could probably put together a whole class just on 1031 exchange. That would be amazing. Anyway, I truly, truly appreciate your time and all the information that you shared to our audience, and to all of you out there, whoever is watching this video. Be sure to reach out to Brandon if you wanted to learn more about 1031 exchange. And also, do not forget to subscribe to our account in YouTube. Make sure you share this. And if you have any questions, just leave us a comment. And don't forget to tune into our future episodes. Again, thank you so much. I'm getting ready to sign up. Brandon, thank you again. And I hope we can do this again in the future and have more discussion on 1031 exchange, okay?
Thank you so much, Marie. It's been a pleasure.
All right, thank you. Well, everyone, we'll see you next time, and have an amazing day. Bye now.